Good afternoon. Today we are doing our lender interview again. We have Carla Kite with us from Cross Country Mortgage, and she is a wealth of information for us. And we're just going to give you guys some information on just the timing of things as we're getting into the fall and going into a new year. So welcome, Carla.
Thank you. Thanks, Carol.
Yeah, great to see you.
Thank you.
So, talk to me a little bit about what does that even mean? Like the timing of things when you're getting a new loan. I know there's a lot of people in this market that are kind of still sitting on the fence because of interest rates, but a lot of people are wanting and needing to move, but they're like, okay, how do I sell first and then move? I mean, so talk to us a little bit about that and how
Yeah.
that's impacted by the loans that they're needing to get.
Yeah. And I can actually speak to this like in my own case, what we did,
Okay.
and just how to, I think, to best prepare yourself in this market so that you are ready to go. So even if you're sitting on the fence and you're trying to decide, if you have an inkling at all that you want to move,
Mm-hmm.
you need to act on that. And because if you don't, the ball's not going to be in your court. You're going to be faced with some chaos, some last minute decisions that usually end up just costing you more money. So I think like the best thing to do, I mean, in all things is to be prepared, right? Um, so when you are currently a homeowner and you're thinking about moving up or moving down, right? People,
Right.
whatever, lateral move, different neighborhood, whatever your reasoning is for wanting to move. And you maybe don't even know um, what your options are in terms of how do you time this, right? I think that's the big question that I always get from people that are in this position. They're like, we don't even know how do we do this, right?
Where do
And
we
so,
start?
yeah,
Yeah,
right. And they really don't. And so to make you the most effective buyer and get you prepared the most, what we want to do is get you pre-qualified for the new home. And we want to see, is it possible for you to buy that new home before you sell your current home? Okay, like that's the very first step.
right.
So, in that qualification process, if we determine that you have to sell this home before you can buy the new home, well, then you know exactly where you're at, right? And you know
Right.
that in that case, you probably need to get your home listed, right? Because you
Mhm.
can't really go out and put an offer on a house if you don't have your home already listed or under contract. I mean, you can,
Right.
but that's very rare.
Yeah.
Um, so you really just want to be prepared. But if it's possible for you to qualify to purchase a new home without selling your current home, that's kind of the sweet spot. And that's what we want to determine for you. And there's a lot of different ways. And I think you're going to talk about a couple that you're aware of too.
Mhm.
Um, and these programs tend to come and go as the need for them comes and goes, right? So like the program that you and I were just talking about that you're going to talk about, um,
Mhm.
we have something similar, but it's a little bit different. So do you want to talk about your program real quick? And
Sure.
okay,
I've just been talking with other real estate agents nationwide, and there's several programs out there. And I know a lot of you have probably heard about iBuyers before, where the iBuyer actually is a large group. They have deep pockets and they can come in and they can make a cash offer on your home. So in doing that, you can get a cash offer and then you can go ahead and look for your new home. But one of the programs was with a company that actually goes in and they will actually purchase your new home for you. They will take title and then they will hold on to it while you get your home ready to go on the market and sell. And then as you sell, you will move in and you'll change over title for them. I'm sure that there's some fees associated with that. But they can actually get you into another home because they'll actually buy the home for you. And then when you're ready to turn over and sell your home, you can put all of your money into that one.
yep,
So that's one of the programs. Yeah.
yeah. So one of the big things, so one of the programs that we have that's similar to that, this company doesn't actually purchase your home prior to you buying the new home, but they do come in with that cash offer. And what that cash offer does is it negates the payment for us in qualifying you for the new home. So it will
Mhm.
actually, by having a cash offer on your current home, we will no longer count that mortgage payment against you. So it will allow you to more easily qualify for a new home.
Okay.
And you're right, there are fees involved with that. And they're not super cheap. I think one of the programs that we have, you can get as cheap as 1.2%, I believe. So,
Okay.
this is not a couple $100s. This is more like a
Right.
couple $1,000s,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just for them to kind of be that middle person. It's a legit cash offer because then down the road, if your home doesn't sell within a certain time frame, then they will actually purchase the home. So
Hmm.
that's kind of the agreement. Um, so some of the other ways that you can do this that are extremely cheap and probably the absolute best option is for you, go get a home equity line of credit. I tell everybody I know, get a home equity line of credit. If you have room to get a home equity line, get it because if you don't need it for something else, you will probably need it when you find this house that you didn't even think
Right.
that you were going to move into, right? Um, the only thing is that when you do it that way, you have to qualify for the current mortgage payment, the home equity line of credit payment, and the new mortgage payment. But you can
Right.
also bring in this Home Light program to do a cash offer, and it will negate the first mortgage and the home equity line of credit payment if needed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I literally have that exact transaction closing this afternoon.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, so
Very
we did
nice.
exactly that. Um, the home equity line of credit, the reason I like the home equity line of credit the most, or HELOC, we use HELOC as a
Yeah.
shorter term, is because they're generally free. And the thing is that you need to, in good faith, you need to go get that home equity line of credit today before you actually plan on moving. So,
Right.
like for example, when we purchased our current home that we're in right now, I put a line of credit on my house for 400,000 a year and a half before I ever used it. I just wanted to be ready and I wanted to have that money at my fingertips if
Right.
I stumbled on the house that I wanted. And we weren't really actively looking. We were just maybe like, yes, we would like to have a bigger lot, but we were unsure. We didn't know where one of our boys was going to be going to school. So we really had to wait a while. But the point I'm making is I was 100% prepared. And when we found our house, we were able to make an offer and we closed like 2.5 weeks later. So we were all ready to go. There were no questions in our mind on how we were doing it. And that's what I want for my buyers. I want them
Right.
totally prepared, right? Instead of that frantic call Saturday night at 6 o'clock because they found their dream home, right?
Right. No, that's great advice. I think
Yeah,
that is totally right on because
yeah,
I have a lot of buyers too that are or homeowners that are in that situation
yeah.
where they know that they're having another child and they're going to need to upgrade, or they're already have their kids out of the house, they're empty nesters, and they're going to downsize a little bit. So that's a great suggestion, is to go ahead and get that home equity line of credit so that you can actually not have to scramble at the last minute when you come up
I
on
mean,
the house.
it's more stressful on everybody in the transaction.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you're not already listed on the market, like if you're, like I said, if you're just contemplating this, that is the absolute best time to go ahead and get this done. But maybe you did put your home on the market and you're waiting like everyone else is right now.
Mhm.
It's not the seller's market that it was, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that home, that corner lot that you always dreamed you wanted to live in
Yeah.
came available. And so it is the absolute home of your dreams and you want it. But what do you do now, right? Because you have your home on the market, you need the equity from your house to buy this new house, but you're kind of
Mhm.
stuck. So in that case, you can do a bridge loan.
Right.
And we actually have a HELOC through a local bank that we can exercise that works kind of like a bridge loan. So the real difference
Okay.
between a bridge loan and a HELOC is that a bridge loan costs money. They both do the
Okay.
same thing. They both
Yeah.
take that second lien position on the current property and allow you to pull that equity out. But they're expensive because they're short-term loans. And so if they know you're not going to be holding that loan for very long and paying them interest, you're going to pay them up front in fees,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the big difference. So like I said, so we can do a bridge loan. We have bridge loan products in-house. But
Mhm.
we also have this local bank that what they've done, they will do a HELOC on your house, even if it's listed. This is kind of unheard of. But what they do is that if you close out that HELOC in less than 3 years, they charge
Hmm.
$1,000 prepayment penalty fee.
Oh,
So you're basically getting a bridge loan for $1,000, which is still cheaper than a typical bridge loan. So
yeah,
it's a great
exactly.
option.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that. That's wonderful.
yeah.
So, yes, I love just all of that information. I have several buyers right now, so I want to just bend your ear about this.
Okay.
I've actually been working a lot more this year with sellers than buyers. So getting back into the buyer market, I have realized that the 2-1 rate buy down is very expensive, like $20,000 expensive for certain loans. So what can you tell us about that? Because I've had several buyers who are wanting to, well, we're under contract now, but they're wanting to ask the seller, even if they increase the purchase price, let's say the house is listed for 500 and they increase it to 510 because they want 20,000 back to help buy down the loan. That still is, that's still not as much as what the seller's list price was.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing there and just some tips for buyers.
Yeah, totally. So here's the thing. The 2-1 buy down, you can do a 3-2-1 buy down, 2-1 buy down, 1-1 buy down. You do all
Okay.
these different options. Basically, what you're doing is the seller is paying money. It's the difference in your payment. So let's just say that you're buying a house today and your interest rate is 6% and you have negotiated a 2-1 buy down. The cost of that is based on your loan amount because it's the difference in your payment in the first year and the second year. So if you're at 6%, that's what you've locked in at. Your
Right.
first year, you're going to pay at 4%. So the seller puts money from 6%, he puts that difference in an account for you. The second year, you're at 5%. So the seller takes that money, the difference between 5 and 6%, and all this money then goes into that escrow account and it helps you make your payment for the next 2 years. So
Okay.
the reality is this. Um, I like it for some people. I would say that for people that are savvy, this is not your jam because it actually, in the end, ends up costing you a little bit more. And I know you don't need it to qualify because doing a buy down doesn't help you qualify. So you're qualifying at that 6% anyway. But
Right.
it might be helpful for somebody that is, for example, maybe they know that they're starting in a lower paid position, but they are due for a large salary increase
Yeah.
over the
Hmm.
next 2 years. It
Right.
can be really helpful for that. It could be helpful for somebody that is maybe having another child and maybe they have not financially wrapped their head around the cost of that and what it's going to take. And
Hmm.
so just having that break for a few years in the payment, because the thought is that, eventually the rates are going to come down and they'll be able to refinance hopefully down somewhere around that 4% over the
Right.
next couple of years. And if the rates do fall super fast, and let's say that you're at the 5%, let's say you're in month 13,
Hmm.
there's still a big chunk of money that's sitting in your escrow account. If the opportunity arises for you to refinance during that time, that money will be paid down on your current loan amount as a principal reduction. So you
Oh,
don't lose
nice.
anything.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of it. But if you really sit down and run out those numbers, you're not saving anything. It's costing you a little bit more. And especially if you are negotiating a higher price for the home
Right.
so that you can
Based on
get
that.
that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Agree.
So, yeah. So, I mean, we've done them. Sure.
Yeah.
It's all up to the client, kind of how they want to handle that.
So it almost reminds me back when I first bought my first house, that was back in what, 1997-ish. And I don't even remember what interest rates were back then, but I'm thinking they were probably, I mean, that was into the 90s. What do you think they were back then? Like,
So I bought my first house in 95 and we were
okay,
at, I think, 7.25.
okay. So I remember that we got into our loan, and of course we paid like $130,000 for our
Yeah,
first house here in Colorado, which is insane looking at what first-time home buyers are paying now.
right.
Anyway, I remember that there was all of these other options. Like I had lots of lenders that were reaching out to us, and I wasn't in real estate then, but they were reaching out and saying, okay, so you guys are in and your interest rate is like 7%, but you can do like you could do the what's it called, the APR, where you have like a very low interest rate the first like 2 years or something, and then it goes back up. I forget what that's called as far as the loan.
I mean, was it an adjustable rate?
Yes, an adjustable
Yeah.
rate. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's kind of what this buy down is similar to. Is that kind of right?
Mm, not really. So
Okay.
I'm actually in an arm right now.
Okay.
Um, so the thing about arms is that the rate is actually lower.
Right.
I'm actually at 2.875 on my
Right.
loan. Um, my loan is a 10-year, so it has a
Okay.
10-year fix on it.
That's
So I'm
awesome. Wow.
actually fixed at that for 10 years.
Okay.
End of 10 years, it will amortize over the following 20 years, but it'll keep, it can go up or down. It
Right.
will most certainly go up, right?
Okay.
Um, I will be honest with you, adjustable rate mortgages just really are not available right now. There are some in the jumbo space that
Okay.
they might, I try to go in there and price them every couple of weeks to see if there is a good option there. But
Hmm.
other than jumbo, I have not done an
Okay.
adjustable rate loan for probably 4 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. They're just, they actually price higher than a 30-year fixed.
Mhm.
And the cost on them is so expensive that we legally can't even sell them.
Okay.
It's very,
Interesting.
yeah. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, they're a good option. The funny thing is that back when you and I bought our houses,
Yeah.
um, FHA offered a 1-year arm. And so
Mm.
you only had it for 1 year.
Well,
And
that's what I remember for us because we tried to refi after like 2 years or something and we were in it, but you only had it for like a short period of time and then it went up pretty aggressively.
yes.
So, yeah.
So, and they have caps. So,
Okay.
like for example, mine can only go up 2% per year.
Okay.
And then there's a cap. It can only go like it can only go up 6. So the highest my rate could ever go would be 8.875.
Right.
But it would take however many years. It would take
Yeah.
3 years to get there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, based on our conversation today, there are options for buyers as far as, especially those people that are in a house and they're looking for their next house. There's different programs that you offer and that I can also offer to people with that are in that situation and need to be able to qualify to buy their next house without having sold their house first. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
like everybody's situation is really different, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's just really, really important that you guys know where you're at, right? The
Yeah.
buyers have to understand where they're at because your neighbor's situation might be very different than your situation. Maybe your neighbor
Mhm.
did it this way, but maybe that doesn't work for you, right?
Right.
So just finding and I don't know why people are so scared of lenders. We're seriously just here to help you figure this out. Like it's a
Yeah.
puzzle. We just want to help
Yeah.
you put it together. That's it.
Right, right. No, I totally agree. And Carla is one of my preferred lenders. Love her to death. She does a lot of stuff for us.
Thank you,
And
Carol.
thank you again for just being here today and sharing this
All
information.
right.
We will get this up on the YouTube channel. And if you guys have any questions about this on either the lending side or the real estate side, please reach out to one of us and we would be happy to answer all of your questions. So thanks, Carla.
Thank you, Carol. I love doing these.
Yep, me too.